I sit on some different boards, and we always ask about culture. We ask about employee sentiment, how's morale, and how are you ensuring, and how do you think boards should, what do you think they should be asking, and how do you think they should interrogate the answers to that in a more meaningful way? Because no CEO is going to report to the board that morale's crap. They may. I mean, that's not fair. I certainly have had CEOs that have said, it's been better, and here's what we need to do to fix it. But how can boards get a better handle on something that is arguably as subjective as morale and engagement and culture?
Yeah, it's a really good question, and I would argue that it's not subjective. I think it looks to be subjective. I think you can make it objective, and by putting those measures in place. Yeah. And of course, it's all about how the measures are run. So, Office Vibe is a classic example of that. You can have some great stats on it, and in fact, we're trying to encourage. We've got 58% participation at the moment, which is low, and my guess is that the 58% who are participating are the engaged ones. So
it's self-selecting.
Yes. So if you're a CEO under pressure reporting to the board, you might be comfortable with the fact you've got a 58% level of response to it, because you know that the other 42% are probably less likely to be engaged. But if you're really running that business properly, then you should be getting that other 42%, because they're the ones that you really need to understand better. You already understand the ones who are replying is those ones. And so I would say, if you're a CEO in that situation, just face up to the reality of it and do what you need to do to try and get those people engaged. And there's all sorts of ways to increase engagement on Office Vibe. One of the ways is to demonstrate that something changes. So when we get feedback on Office Vibe, if we just say, "Oh, that's very nice, thank you very much," and reply to it, that doesn't have a great impact. It's better than not replying to it at all. So at least they've been acknowledged. But the really important thing is to say, this is what Office Vibe has told us over the course of this week, over the course of this month. These are the changes we're making. Please tell us how we're doing. Then it becomes really powerful. And so that in itself drives engagement. But to come back to that question, how do you measure it? Well, your CEO has got to be honest with themselves and say, actually, it's not just about the score, it's about the level of engagement as well. The board also needs to be savvy enough to understand the technology or the process well enough to not have the wool pulled over their eyes. And that's always difficult, because the further you are from the business, there are lies, damned lies, and statistics. But again, if you triangulate this, Net Promoter, Office Vibe, best company scores, and one of the ones we talked about earlier, but we haven't mentioned during this interview is retention. And again, that's a key one as well. It's a terrible one in many regards, because it's a lagging indicator. Mm-hmm. But it's an important one all the same. And so I absolutely believe that you can, but you have to take care about it. You can make those measures very objective.